Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Du Plessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the show. I am so excited today to have our guest, Adam Schaeuble, with us. He is the founder and podcast host of the Million Pound Mission, which is hilarious because we were just talking about the fact that he has so many people in England that listen because they think it's million pounds of money, but it's actually about weight loss and transformation, which is exactly what this podcast is about. So, Adam, welcome to the show.
Jen, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here. It's always exciting to share a platform with another podcaster like yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And of course I was on your show, so we'll put that link here too, so that we can cross-pollinate this. You can all listen to what I had to say on his show. We had so much fun. So much fun.
Oh yeah. I like our vibe. This is going to be a high energy episode, just so you guys know right up front.
Yeah. We're going to have lots of fun with this. Okay. So let's get started right away. Now, as you know, this podcast is called Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. And you have a major glass ceiling that you broke through that you want to share, and I want to share with my listeners as well. So tell us about you before this glass ceiling that you broke through. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I feel like I've broken through a skyscraper of glass ceilings. So many. Yeah. So over a decade ago, just to kind of paint the picture, I was 327 pounds. I had a ton of credit card debt, like $40,000 plus of just credit card debt. Dumb things were happening in my life. I wasn't happy with the path, with relationships, with my career, with my friendships. I was just kind of feeling lost. And I ran into just that bottom of the barrel moment. I remember I was standing in a grocery store with my credit card, gearing to pay for this food. I'm like, oh, I hope I have enough room on this card, and just feeling like at that rock bottom moment that so many people have been at. Yeah. But once we hit that, that's usually there's room for growth there, and that's when things started to kind of turn. The tide turned a little bit for me.
So you're standing what was going through your mind? Other than you're standing in the grocery store and you're going, I hope this card works. And I imagine that happened several times, but why this time? What was the catalyst that created this particular tipping point of enough is enough?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that, Jen. At that point in time, I just felt like I wasn't in control of my life. Like I wasn't in control of my destiny. And I felt like there wasn't anything I could do about it. I felt like I was trying at life, but nothing was really working out my way. And when I went home that day, the thing that kind of tripped or flipped the switch for me, my friend had let me borrow a DVD called The Secret, The Law of Attraction.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And this was honestly, this was the second time that it had been sent my direction. The first time I pretended to watch it, said it was great, and sent it back. I'm like, I don't need any of this. And then it came back to me through a different friend, had been collecting dust on the DVD player. And for some reason, I was like, why don't I just give this thing a shot? I don't know what it's about. My friends are all fired up about it. And that was my first ever dose of personal growth material. I had never invested in myself that way. So we're talking, I'm mid-20s, and I just had never, I'd been through school. Yeah, I'd never been through school, and I'd studied, but I never invested in me like that. And it just lit me up like a Christmas tree. And I was like, wow, for the first time in a long time, I felt like I actually could do something to change. And I just decided for things to change, I needed to start changing. I needed to own my situation and take personal responsibility more than I ever had before. And then I started moving forward with that.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So what was the first step you took? Because, for those of us, and we'll put the link for The Secret as well, but for those of us that have read it, what particular part of the book was it that pushed you to say, something that you're going to tell us, because there were a couple things that you needed to address, right? It wasn't just your podcast, right, of the million pound mission, but it was also financial
Yeah.
transformation that happened too. So,
Yeah.
so what specifically in the book, made you say that's it right there?
Well, this was the first time I'd been introduced to affirmations, and that really was something unique that it just vibed with me. I'm like, if I could just set up my mind, because I had competed in athletics at a high level when I was younger, and I was like, okay, I get the mindset thing. So if
Right.
I can just set up my mind in a certain way in the morning and in the evening, the stuff that happens between those two bookends might be a little bit better. So that's what I really took away from The Secret. So what I did was I did a process that I now teach people, that I coach, that I call my lifestyle rehabilitation statement. So it's an affirmation, but there's a lot of accountability with it,
Yeah.
where I basically mapped out what I wanted to achieve over the next 5 years of my life. And I wrote it out in present tense as if it had already happened, in affirmation style. And then I set a deadline, 5 years. It was July 12th, 2007, went to July 12th, 2012. And I just mapped out, I placed my order with the universe, and I decided, here are the things that I want to, here's how I want to look. Here's how I want to feel. Here are the relationships I have. Here's how my business is unfolding. This is how my financial freedom level, this is where that's at. And I just committed to myself, even, back in the day when I was younger, playing sports, growing up, I've always been an implementer. I wasn't somebody that just waited around, I always, that's why I was feeling kind of frustrated, because I felt like I was taking action.
Why am I waiting around? I don't understand this. Yeah,
So,
like me. Yeah.
Yeah. So my catchy phrase that I say now, I was learning about the law of attraction, but I discovered that you can't spell attraction without action. So I needed to really combine those two things of doing the affirmation, but then have accountability to move the needle in the right direction every single day over this 5-year plan with these statements. So I did every morning, I would read the statement out loud as if it had already happened, with energy, putting myself in that position. And that really opened me up for opportunity. It was like turning the light switch on in the hallway, and I could see which doors were open. And then at night, I would read it for accountability. And I would ask myself, did I move the needle in the right direction today? Did I do anything at all?
Yeah.
And if I didn't, I would have to do something before I'd go to bed, whether it's a mini workout or review a blog or, read a little bit.
Down a set of stairs.
Anything. I'd do something. There couldn't be any zero action days.
Right.
That was the real key. So I did that. And over that 5-year time span, I lost over 100 pounds. People started asking me how I was doing it. I helped 15 other people in my hometown lose over 100 pounds, which ended up becoming a business. Obviously, I was very passionate about. I created a boot camp. I created a fitness facility. I helped my hometown lose 35,000 pounds in 5 years. And that's where we ramped up with the Million Pound Mission podcast, where now we're at 57,000 pounds donated from listeners that listen to the show. Got married, started a family, got out of all my debt, paid off my mortgage. Like, all this stuff happened because of the mindset shift that I had back in 2007. And I achieved every single goal. I was actually 7 days late on opening up my 8,000 square foot fitness facility that I had dreamed 5 years before.
Yeah.
But I missed it by 7 days.
So it's all good.
Yeah. We still counted it as a win.
Yeah, I love that. It's amazing how, and you bring up the point of, being an athlete, because I, was and still am an athlete. And, it's amazing how when you have to achieve something when we're kids like that, teenagers and young adults, when we want to achieve something in the athletic realm, how we're so focused on being able to do that. And we know that, and I think in business, there's these 5 stages of growth, right? It's formulation, concentration, momentum, stability, and then the breakthrough, right? And we're really good at formulation and concentration because we say, we have to work out every day. I have to run track every day. I have to run 5 miles every day. And if we could just apply what we did as, any time that we can think about the past, at some point in time that you had, a mission and a goal, and the actions that you took to get to that goal, if we could just apply those as adults, it would be really, really powerful. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did, is start applying it. And it really does start with going back to formulation. So often we just want the magic pill to lose the weight, and the magic pill to get healthy, and the magic pill to have the relationship, like eHarmony is going to do it. And I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just, like that, oh, that's my magic pill. I'll just go on there and they're going to match me up and it'll all be good. And I think we all just forgot that, you have to go through the painful formulation and concentration stage to get to those other parts. And so I love what you said about the mindset, around that. So any comments on what I just said?
Well, yeah, one of my favorite authors and people to learn from is Gretchen Rubin. And she talks about, in her 4 tendencies, she talks about a lot of people are frustrated with all sorts of areas of their life because they're like, well, back when I was in high school, I got up for 5 a.m. and I did soccer practice every single day. How come I can't get up at 5 a.m. and work out as an adult? And it's with each tendency, each type. She has the 4 different tendencies, and the most regularly occurring one in the human population is called an obliger, which means you don't do well with internal accountability, which means you can't bring accountability up from yourself. You need someone else to put it on you. That's why soccer practice, you were good. Yeah, the coach was there. And then now you're out there as an adult trying to figure it out on your own, and it's not so good. So understanding those types of concepts are big. And with me, I discovered that I'm good with internal accountability. Like I am somebody that but I have to have a map. I have to have a plan or I'm lost. Yeah. Like I gotta have that checklist and I can rock and roll with it. And that's what those affirmations were for me.
Yeah. And I use affirmations as well. So let's talk about those for just a moment, on what kind of affirmations you're doing now and what people I think that when people hear affirmations, and this is not for everybody, I'm bringing the devil's advocate into it for someone going, those affirmations again, they're bringing out those affirmations. I think a lot of people think that's all these vision boarding and, stickies all over your house. And it could be that. But maybe share how you do your affirmations today and what some of your affirmations sound like.
Well, I think just some general rules that I have. People ask me, do you still do this? I'm like, yes, 100%. Every morning, every night. I still do it. It works. I'm not going to stop doing it. But with me, it is more about the accountability of what am I trying to accomplish? So that is the general vibe. What is the direction that I'm trying to do? What are the GPS coordinates of where I'm trying to get to? And they have to be positive, 100%. I like them in present tense as if they've already happened. So I can kind of put myself in that place emotionally, especially somebody that was going on a fairly large weight loss journey. I really needed that. I needed to be able to close my eyes and just envision how I was going to look, how I was going to feel, and put myself in that place emotionally. That helped a lot. No negative words. So even though I was trying to get out of $40,000 of debt, I wouldn't put the word debt in my affirmation because I didn't want to just be repeating that over and over and over again. So I talk a lot about abundance, financial abundance, and that. So you have to word things, in a way that vibes with.
Yeah. And sometimes reverse engineer them, because I know with some, some things, I can't seem to make it to appointments on time. Okay. I'm just using that as an example. That's not me. I'm just saying, some people say, I can't make it to appointments on time. Well, changing that affirmation into, I'm always early for appointments.
Yeah.
Changing them. So one of the things that I did that I just want to share about this is that, when you talk about affirmations or self-talk, right? Your own self-talk, what your mind is saying, is I actually recorded me doing my affirmations so that when I was driving down the road, I can listen to myself talk to myself about my affirmations.
Yeah. I know a lot of high performers that do this, Jen. And it's weird that I haven't done this yet because I've had people have me record their affirmations because they like my voice. As a voice artist, they have me read the affirmations that they want to hear. But I've done that for myself, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's my own self-talk. And then, I'm always hearing, and when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's what I said. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I wanted to share that with people as well. So obviously that was a big breakthrough for you. It took several years to do. And I think that's important too, is that a lot of these breakthroughs that, when they're big breakthroughs, we can't expect them to happen overnight. It's a long game on that. And so, I love that you just kept yourself motivated through that. Is there anything else that you do to continue to keep yourself motivated, especially over a 3 or 5 year period? Well, heck, for some people, even over a month, right? How do you keep yourself motivated aside from affirmations?
Well, like, let's give the weight loss journey example, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with the concept that I call the black hole of weight loss doom, where you lose weight and then you gain it back over and over and over again, around and around you go. And there's a lot of time, money, effort, just emotion involved in that.
I heard someone call it, we release weight, because when you lose weight, you can find it again.
Yep. You try to find it again. Yep. So
release it.
So with a weight loss journey example, a lot of people are out there trying to hack it out alone. Like, that's something they'll say, well, I've lost the weight and gained it back, 5 different times. I should be able to do this on my own by now. I know that's a phrase that's in a lot of people's heads. I'm an adult. I shouldn't need anybody else's help. Like, they're denying the need anyone else's help, but it's just like, if you need help with your taxes, you go and get help with your taxes. If your roof is leaking, you go get somebody because it's our body. A lot of times we feel like we should be able to figure it out, and a lot of
what to do. You just have to mindset. Well, and not even mindset. What is the other word that everyone's used that I just have to, I don't know. There's another word besides mindset. Because I think a lot of people who are trying to lose weight, for example, I never heard my mother, she was fluffy. As she called it, like a marshmallow. She goes, I'm fluffy like a marshmallow. I'm like, okay, Mom. But she would never walk around saying, I got to change my mindset. It was willpower, right?
Yeah.
The willpower, constantly talking about willpower.
Yeah. And I believe in willpower. I believe that it's like a muscle. I see it with people with the weight loss journey all the time. Like, people that struggle. So, for example, people that struggle with nighttime eating, they're good. I see people, especially that are like medical professionals, where they have that room at work where all the people bring all the treats, the donuts and all the stuff, and they all have to pass through the room. And all day long, they're like, I'm good. But that's wearing down that willpower muscle. Mm-hmm. And then on the drive home, they hit the drive-through because it's gone. They're hungry. They're tired.
Walk in the door, they do the same thing.
Yes. So I truly do believe in that. And there are things that we can do to keep our willpower high, on that journey. And things like we talked about earlier, like having a coach, having a support system, having mentors, having a community. So many people are out there just trying to do it by themselves. We have to give in and find that, that source of accountability. And whether we're trying to lose weight, trying to build a business, trying to just rekindle a relationship or whatever. Mm-hmm. We're trying to transform and break through these glass ceilings that you talk about. I feel like accountability is a huge thing. And when I help people lose weight, I talk about forming accountability anchor points in every area. Every area of their life, people feel like, I've got a trainer. Okay, well, that's one anchor point. And let's say you're climbing a mountain. If you anchor in once and that anchor fails, you also fall to the bottom. And I see this happen to a lot of people. They're going along really, really well. They have their trainer, or they have their boot camp, or they have their online coach, and then that goes away. And then all their accountability goes away, and they go back to where they started. All the old habits come right back in.
Yep.
So I like to have people anchor in as often as they can in all the major areas where they spend time in life. So we're talking about home, hopefully some sort of gym life, business, friendships, circles, social groups. So maybe at work, you organize like a walking lunch Wednesday, and you're accountable to that. And all your friends know that you're going to be there. You know that they're going to be there, and there's a healthy lunch brought in or whatever. And that's every Wednesday. And then in the church group, there's, something on Sundays that you do. That's maybe y'all play basketball or something like that. And then the friendship circle once a month, maybe the first Friday of the month, instead of going out for wine, you go out and ride bikes. But just forming these accountability anchor points that are healthy in all the different areas of your life, that's huge for people, because you start to feel that support network, and it's all positive. And people sometimes, Jen, I'm sure you see this as well, is they run from the word accountability. They see it as
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. They see it as judgment. And that's, if you're in a positive environment, people see like Biggest Loser type weight loss shows where they're yelling at them, and it's like boot camp drill sergeant stuff. Yes. And they assume that's how the accountability is going to be. And really, when I coach somebody, I'm going to hold you accountable. Like, if you have a 100-pound weight loss goal, I'm not necessarily holding you accountable to that 100-pound weight loss goal. I'm holding you accountable to taking action that will be in line with that goal. That's going to get you there. But it's going to be support. It's going to be friendship. It's going to be mentorship. It's not drill sergeant shaming. Oh, you ate the ice cream. Shame. Ring the shame bell. Shame. No, I'm not going to do that.
Don't tell me that you've watched What We Do in the Shadows.
I watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, Game of Thrones. Oh, okay.
The shame bell. Shame.
Yeah, I know. Shame. Yeah, they get just people to do it. That's hilarious. That's, I think, you definitely bring up a good point, and I mean, even in my own situation, I've always been thin. I've just always been thin. I'm fortunate. But I don't abuse eating either, and the older I get, the harder it is to maintain, I would say, because it's not a losing thing or releasing. It's just a maintenance because my metabolism's changed, and obviously, you and I both sit and do a bunch of podcasts all day, right? Yeah. And so there's all this sitting that goes on. And thankfully I'm a competitive ballroom and Latin and swing dancer, so I get that exercise. But going back to kettlebells, I was doing kettlebells for several years, going and nice. Lifting, and doing all that. It felt fantastic. And then I had an injury, right, in my shoulder. I had a rotator cuff injury. And I'm like, oh, it's okay. I don't need to go there anymore because I've got kettlebells at the house. I can just use them. They sit out on our porch. And I've had to pick them up to broom off the leaves that collected under that, you know what I mean? And put them right back down. Not move them someplace where I can see them and stuff. So I love that you're saying that, because you're right. We really need all of this in our lives to ensure. And I love your idea of bookends. I talk about bookends all the time, about affirmations. I do savers, Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning and stuff. Yeah. I do savers in the morning, and at night I do something called 3, 2, 1. What 3 things went right? What 2 things went wrong? And what 1 thing do I need to improve on? And that's how I sort of bookend my days, But I love that you're talking about this accountability. It's crazy. In our house, it's the word. It was the word when the kids were in school, when they were in high school and middle school and college, and it is the word now. My daughter will call me and say, I go, how's your day going? She goes, accountability, Mom. Accountability. I go, really? You have someone who, she goes, I don't get it. They're adults. Right? So yeah, it is a big word. It is a big word. For us, it's good, but I understand what you mean for other people. So I know that you have like a transformation timeline thing that you do as well. So talk to us about this transformation timeline, because we're all, we want it now. Yeah. We want it now. And if we don't get it now, it failed. We wasted money.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I really like to do is take some pressure off of everyone's shoulders with their transformation journey by just painting the picture through this transformation timeline concept. And I'm a namer of processes. Everything I do, I name it, and it's got weird names like the Black Hole Fitness Doom and, the transformation timeline. So hopefully that helps you guys remember. But the transformation timeline will basically paint a picture of every successful and not successful transformation that I've ever been a part of, that I've ever seen. I think you guys will be able to tell exactly where you're at, where you've been, and how to get to the next step. So it's 3 phases, simple, but not easy. The first phase is that black hole of weight loss doom. That's where, if you guys can imagine, for those that are listening, a circle of 4 interconnected arrows. The top arrow is we start a new program. The arrow to the right side of the circle is we get some initial results because it's something new stimulus. We get some new results. The arrow at the bottom, yeah, exactly. The arrow at the bottom is life happens. We're not ready for it. Job change, relationship change, injury, vacations, anything. And we're not ready for it. The last arrow connecting to the top again is crash and burn. We go right back where we started. And this is what people see as the weight loss journey. Like I lose it and then I find it. I lose it and then I find it.
Someone dies. I lose my job. So I go back to smoking, or I go back to eating, or I go,
anything. And we're not ready for it. And the issue that I find, Jen, is that people focus too much on the top of that circle. I started something new, like, oh, CrossFit didn't work, so I will try jazzercise. Oh, vegan didn't work, I'll try keto. I'll try Weight Watchers. And they're bouncing around, putting all the pressure, saying the next thing has to be the thing. Well, at the same time, we always crash and burn in that same life happens moment. So I encourage people to search that out and say, okay, I call them transformation danger zones. What's that big pit in the road that you keep on riding your bike right into without building a bridge over first? Right. So what is that thing? We have to identify it. We have to analyze it. We have to plan ahead for it. So if it's spring break, then if you normally lose weight going to spring break, and then you go on spring break, you don't get back in your normal routine, you gain it all back. Okay. It doesn't matter what routine you do and that that you're getting results from and then gaining things back. You have to fix that danger zone or you'll always be in the same scenario. You'll always be in phase 1, black hole of weight loss doom. So that's how you escape into phase 2. So we start identifying those things and we can make progress moving forward.
Yeah. So let me ask you about this. I mean, and I always just ask questions based on what my curiosity is, because I know that everyone who's listening is doing the same thing. Ask this, ask Adam that, right? So, I'm plant-based. I'm a plant-based eater. I've always, I've been one for many, many years. I love meat, by the way. It's not that I'm one of those, can't eat eyeballs of something, but my husband had 3 heart attacks 6 years ago, and we're coming up onto the 6-year anniversary in March. And, for us, it was a decision to, change the way we are inside, right? We both dance, we're both active, that type of thing. And by the way, most people don't think dancing is working out. It is.
I know it is.
I do over 10,000 steps when I'm dancing, at the studio. And so I'm like, haha, you try to do that. Yep. Right. But, for us, so I'm plant-based, and I travel a lot, as you know, and, speaking and everything. It is so hard to find plant-based food, and I finally got a Prime account and I have blueberries and, all kinds of stuff delivered to me. But it is really, really hard. And I find that I go through this circle, where everything's going great. And then, I'm on the airline and they hand me Fritos. Right? And I go, yes, I want some Fritos because I didn't find an apple someplace, right? And so I'll have that. And I say, it's okay, because when I get back, I know I can get back into my normal routine. But are you saying that the fact that I even allow that to happen is a problem? Or is it that you're more focused on, hey, life happens and you might have a boo-boo, just recognize to go back to it. So help me understand that. Am I screwing myself up by having those Fritos because that was all that's available? Or, what's going on there?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So let's paint the picture where 2 different scenarios could happen. Mm-hmm. If the Fritos are just a blip on the radar and you go right back to normal eating once you have access to normal eating, no problem. Not worried about that one bit. If you eat the Fritos and then you're like that, wherever you're going, you're like, ooh, let's get
that sugar was really good. Let me have
if it creates that weekend bleed of just terrible eating, then that's an issue. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that one choice. It's more about I work with a lot of accountants and they will lose weight all year long. And then tax season happens. They just check out. I don't hear from them.
I didn't think about that.
All of it back.
Oh my gosh.
And so that is what I'm talking about with these danger zones, that people or somebody is out there dating. And every time they start dating somebody new, they feel that social pressure to eat whatever they eat and they gain a bunch of weight back. It's more like that it's not the moment little blips on the radar. It's the huge lingering issue that happens over and over again. And I've got a separate philosophy that I build into my clients' plans. I call the cheat bank, which we have little cheat meals built in, like if you're traveling. So it allows you to go off plan and you can bounce right back. It's a part of the plan. So that's something that takes a lot of pressure off of people. So that's something that, we can talk about and get your Frito in a little bit.
You know what? I'm so afraid to say it because I don't want to offend anybody, but I mean, it's just what I call it, but I call it Fat Friday. Because it was for me too. It's like, eat all good, really, really good all week. And not now, but this was back then, where I would, eat really well all week. And then if I wanted to have a Snickers bar on Friday, I could. If I wanted to have an ice cream cone, I could, right? And this is before I was plant-based, but it was just, it gave me the opportunity to have some fun. And then I would go right back to doing, what I'm doing. I guess the problem is when you have Fat Friday every day of the week, and then you try to not eat one day a week and you expect to lose weight.
Yeah. So this is a perfect transition into the second phase of the transformation timeline, because the second phase is where we try to balance out our health and our lifestyle. Yeah. And that's where a lot of people will give up. They're like, if I can't go out and have wine 3 times a week and that's not allowed, what's the point? Right. Or I like to have pizza every once in a while. What does that mean? And like the questions that you're asking, and those are normal questions. They should be asked. And I've kind of baked this into the second phase where people will come, they'll escape that black hole of weight loss doom. They start to solve some of those big life moments, but then they start to realize they're very uncomfortable because they are focusing a lot of time and effort on their health, and they're not seeing their friends for wine night as much, or maybe they aren't,
Right, because they know
much
their
sleep.
willpower won't allow them to go.
Yeah. Or they're getting up and they're working out early or after work, and they're not, getting as much sleep, or they're not seeing their family. They start to feel that lifestyle burn a little bit, and and they'll tell themselves, I can't handle this. Or they'll tell me as a coach, Adam, I can't handle this. I can't handle this pace forever. And I'm like, good. This tells us we are where we're supposed to be. I don't expect you to handle it forever. But right now we're rebalancing, because before, when we were gaining weight, we were way focused on those lifestyle points and not focused on our health. And we can't just bring that immediately into perfect balance. You have to go out of balance in the other direction for a certain period of time. And then in this phase, we start to settle in. And one of the things that we already talked about is that cheat bank. And I'll say, all right, but we own the meals that are off plan. And we say, all right, I go in 28-day cycles. I'll say, let's book 4 cheat meals, and you own them. Maybe it's a date night, a birthday, a work thing, or whatever. We track them, we eat them, we enjoy them. We do not beat ourselves up about them. And then we say, all right, we did 4 cheat meals and we lost 5 pounds. And if you're in a maintenance zone like you are now, like this could be a great little strategy for you here, Jen. If you're kind of in that maintenance zone, track it every month, every 28 days, see the result. If you do 10 cheat meals and you still lose 5 pounds, you just discovered you can get away with 10 cheat meals per 28-day cycle. If you gain 10 pounds, you're like, oh, okay, better trim those back a little bit.
Yeah, well, thank God I'm not trying to lose or gain.
Right.
I'm trying to do either. I think for me, the cheat meals are, I'm having spaghetti and I had meat in the spaghetti, right? Yeah. That's a cheat meal for me.
Yeah.
Because I would not normally have meat in it. So and we do that. We do a little cheating. But I have to tell you, my husband's one who, and he's not overweight or anything now because he had the heart attack.
Yeah.
But he likes to cheat and then some, cheat and have a little more dessert, cheat and have a glass of wine, and then say, well, I didn't really cheat, but he expands it. So it's kind of interesting, but okay. So being able to cheat is okay.
Yeah. And that's what you just described.
Balance.
Yep. It's about our magic word of the day, accountability. That's where tracking it in the cheat bank format, you can't get away with that. You'd actually be tracking and being like, okay, I took 6 cheat meals and I maintain my weight. I know that I can handle that amount. So you just kind of have a sense of what you can and can't get away with. That's important.
I love that measurement. I hope people are listening and really understanding that too. Okay. So now we get to phase 3. So what happens in phase 3?
Okay. Phase 3 is what I call new purpose, new identity. We've achieved our first big goal. We run out of real estate. We have no more weight to lose. And a lot of people, this is the worst place to crash and burn from, because you've achieved the thing, but you lose. You lose who you are. I've helped 15 people from my hometown lose over 100 pounds. Not all of them kept it off because they ran out of real estate to sell, and then they didn't have that thing anymore that made them, that got them up out of bed. That was dry. They were the weight loss person. Their family and friends were all cheering them on. They were showing before and after pictures online. Maybe some of them got married, and then it was like, what am I pumped up about now? And whoosh, it just a landslide backwards.
Yeah.
So you have to get out there and say, okay, what is the next thing that's going to fire me up? But also, if you've been on a major weight loss journey, it may not fire you up as much as changing your life through a major weight loss journey, but it could be something like helping other people. Like that's what got me through. I started helping other people and created a business out of it. Mentorship, community building. Other people get fired up about more challenging physical feats like, marathons, mud runs, powerlifting, whatever, kettlebells. And they set up a goal like, I want to be able to do a pull-up. I want to be able to do 20 push-ups in a row or whatever. And that is their new purpose, new identity. But they go through that cycle. You have to be thinking about those things when you're on a weight loss journey, because eventually you run out of weight to lose. Yeah. And we have to have that shift in mind. And it's very, very important to hit that. And if we can, then that's where people really rock it and they maintain results. So those are the 3 phases.
I have a client that I coach, and she's a twin. Her twin is thin. She's not. She's very overweight and she doesn't like it. She has to get like a double extender on the plane, and she might even have to get 2 seats. I don't know. I just don't know. But She's very, very large. And the thing for her is that she has this block that she lost weight once before, and she didn't like the person she became. And so she's afraid to lose the weight again, because she's afraid she's going to be that person that she became for whatever it was. But also in her business, she thinks that because she is more fluffy, that she's perceived as being less aggressive or assertive. And she thinks that that's the reason she gets business. And that if she loses weight, she won't get as much business. So tell us about that dichotomy of, oh my gosh, where you want to do something because it's healthy for you and you want to feel better and you want to wear high heels. I just want to wear high heels again. She's so afraid of that person that she thinks she's going to be and that she will lose business.
Well,
really sad.
I see this.
Sad.
Yeah. I mean, I went into fitness and, health coaching and stuff, not knowing that I was going to turn into a psychologist, but I do a lot of therapy talks and I'm not super qualified for that. I just spit honesty, I just honestly speak to people, and people in that situation, they get in their heads about it a lot. There's a lot wrapped up in just how they view themselves, how, even, for example, with me, body image issues, I've lost over 100 pounds. I lucked out that I did it in my 20s and early 30s, so I don't have a bunch of loose skin or stretch marks. But along the way, I had a few injuries, and I've got, I tore my pec, and I've got a half a chest thing going on, and all that. And it's I still am self-conscious about that. So everybody gets in their head about it. But really, what it comes down to in this situation, with your friend, is that if you're going to get it done, whether it's weight loss, whether it's business, or whatever goal you have, if you're going to stack up two lines and one of them is the why and one of them is the why not, the why stack has to be bigger. It has to be bigger than the combined force of all of the why nots. Yeah. So getting into high heels, that's not a big enough why. Fitting into certain clothes, not a big enough why. If she has this whole business thing in her mind that it's actually helping her, that's not helping her why at all. That's a bunch of on the why not side. And really, Dean Graziosi has a great little process called Find Your Why 7 Levels Deep. So you have to keep asking why. So you want to lose weight. Well, why? And then, well, why to that? And well, why to that? And find that emotional root where I guarantee this person has people that need her to be around for a while.
Her daughter. I think she wants to play on the floor with her daughter.
Yeah. And how about walk your daughter, be there for your daughter's wedding and graduation and grandkids. And the health measurement I am most psyched about that it has not been invented yet is to be able to tell people what they avoided health-wise. Oh, you lost 100 pounds. You didn't have a heart attack and die at 40. Congrats.
Right.
That's the help. Go out there and invent it, Elon Musk. Let's get on this here. So we can't imagine that, but that's really what we're doing. So if she drops 40 pounds, maybe she adds a decade to her life with her daughter.
Yeah.
Is that worth it or not? We've got to get out of our own head and get into reality and really think about so what if it helps your business, which it's not, by the way. I'll throw that accountability at you, but it's, so what if it helps your business? What if it takes decades away from your daughter? What are you working for? And you have to think in those terms, get out of our own head, quit thinking so emotionally, start thinking rationally, and see what happens. I think through confidence and having all that energy and being able to put in more work, she'll definitely have better work results. She's just got to get that excuse out of her mind and give it a shot again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, it just made me think of her when you started saying, that you become this other person, and she's just saying, I didn't like the person I was, so now I'm not going to even try.
Yeah.
I don't want to try because of that. So thank you for sharing that. And the reason one of the other reasons I asked the question is I want people that are listening to really understand how you coach, right? So if this is resonating with them, they'll understand, the method, your mind mapping that you do for them to help them see things that they're not seeing. And that's, one of the reasons why we all have mentors for a variety of reasons, So transformation, do you focus only on weight loss, or do you do other transformational coaching?
my primary area of expertise is people on a weight loss journey, but really anybody on a health journey that feels like they trip up over certain scenarios. I kind of tell people I'm like a fitness portfolio manager, like where I help people with
stocks, you have some this. Yeah.
Exactly. I've got people that are doing every different style of nutrition, from carnivore to vegan, every style of fitness. And I just help them keep going along on their journey. Like that's the key thing, whether they're building muscle, running a marathon, losing weight, people that want to get healthier. I like to help them form a plan, hold them accountable to that plan. And then we cross that finish line together. I'm a big cheerleader. I'm a ball of energy. And I tell people they can borrow some of that energy until they build up their own. And that's really where I'm focused.
I love that. Well, and I think, it's, again, I don't really want to see a picture of you then, but I imagine it's a major, major transformation, even in your eyes. I find that that's, a lot that happens. I mean, as a coach, what I do, seeing a transformation in people's eyes, it tells me a big story. And so I imagine you had some very unhappy eyes at that time.
Yeah, just the fact of going from feeling out of control to in control of your life. And it's undescribable if people haven't been there. It's just a huge, huge deal. So feeling like I can actually do something to impact my life, and now teaching other people how to do that. It's an honor to be able to spread that kind of energy to other people out there that are struggling.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that. So before we finish up today, I always ask everyone to give us a quote. It can be your quote, or it can be a quote of someone that inspires you. If you can think of something offhand that, and maybe they're in your affirmations every day.
Yeah.
Right.
So, an Adam quote that I like to kind of end conversations with when I present and when I talk on the podcast. We've talked a lot about affirmations. We've talked a lot about personal growth, which people have that analogy of sharpening the sword or sharpening the axe, right? We have a very sharp axe. Well, this is the quote, Jen. A sharp axe does us no good if we never swing it. You can't spell attraction without action. So you have to get out and swing the axe every single day. We can't just sit and think about all the goals that we want. We have to go out and act in line with those. If we do that, anything's possible.
I love that. Yep, absolutely. And I wrote that down. Attraction without action doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing this. I love your transformation. And I know that anybody who's listening, who is looking for weight loss transformation, you definitely can help. And, this is, again, from success to significance, life after breaking through glass ceilings, because sometimes it is that people are saying, I can't move from where I'm at right now until I do a weight loss program. I can't move from where I'm at until I have all my ducks in a row, with whatever else is going on. And this is an opportunity for you to peck off one of the anchors that Adam has talked about here today, right? Is to peck off the anchor and say, well, maybe if weight loss is one, that's one anchor for me, but you have many, many other anchors that you can get from this podcast as well. So Adam, thank you so much for bringing your wisdom to us. And, I just wish you all the best in the world. And I know, so if you're watching this, if you're listening, go over and watch it on YouTube, my YouTube channel, and you can see all of the wonderful podcasts that he's had behind his picture here. That's like his backdrop of all the people that he's interviewed on his podcast. So, take an opportunity to go over to his podcast, subscribe to his, and please write a nice review for us and give us a good rating, and do the same for Adam as well if you love what he has had to say. So thank you, Adam, for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
And you're awesome. I know you're going to build a super strong community with this awesome show you've put together, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, we'll catch you next time, and go out and make it a great week and put something into action and ensure that you swing the axe. We'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Du Plessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.